There is a power within you greater than any obstacle, greater than any fear, greater than any lack or limitation. That power is waiting, quietly, patiently, for you to awaken to its presence. Many go through life half asleep, drifting with doubt, chained by worry, lulled by the voice of appearances. They lie down in discouragement when success was only one step away, one thought away, one word spoken in faith away. But Spirit whispers, "Don't sleep until try this." For the moment you try the way of bold expectancy, doors begin to open where there seemed to be none. Life is a game of boomerangs. What you throw out returns to you multiplied. If you cast out fear, fear comes back. But if you cast out courage and confidence, they too will return with their companions. Joy, supply, and freedom. Many slumber in the false belief that they must wait for the right time, the right circumstance, or the right person to deliver them. But the truth is now. The door is already open, if only you dare to walk through. The command is simple: do not delay, do not sleep. Do not hesitate until you try the method of trust, the practice of fearless speaking, the experiment of acting as if the victory is already won. Every thought is a seed. If you scatter seeds of worry, you will reap weeds. If you scatter seeds of faith, the harvest will astonish you. The secret lies in refusing to drift back into the slumber of doubt. One fearless affirmation, spoken with conviction, can overturn years of struggle. One act of courage can rewrite the story of your life. That is why you must not sleep. Not until you have tried this. Tried aligning your words with your highest good. Tried living as if the unseen were already seen. Tried believing that what belongs to you cannot be withheld. The world will tell you it cannot be done, that you must settle, that you must wait. But Spirit says, "Prove me now." Life is not waiting for you to dream idly. It is waiting for you to wake up and take possession of the good already prepared for you. When you walk boldly, unseen forces rush to your aid. When you hold fast to your word, the whole universe conspires to deliver. The invisible becomes visible the instant you refuse to be lulled back into sleep. So I say again, don't sleep until try this. Try speaking only words of power. Try walking in expectation instead of fear. Try standing tall in the face of appearances and declaring, "I cannot fail, for the Spirit within me is my supply, my guide, and my victory." Try it, and you will find that the night of limitation gives way to the morning of abundance. Awaken the power within. There is no greater truth than this. Inside every human being resides an infinite source of wisdom, courage, and supply. It is not somewhere outside in the distance, waiting for you to chase it down. It is not locked in the hands of another, nor is it a prize given only to a chosen few. It is already within you. Closer than breath, nearer than thought, waiting only for recognition. Most people go through life unaware of this treasure, living half asleep. Hypnotized by appearances, deceived by fear, and chained by doubt. They look outside themselves for answers and solutions, seeking endlessly in places that cannot satisfy, while the true gold lies hidden in their own consciousness. To awaken the power within means to turn your gaze inward, to acknowledge that you are not weak, not helpless, not at the mercy of chance, but aligned with the source of all creation. This awakening begins with a single act: recognition. Recognition that every word spoken, every thought entertained, every belief repeated in the quiet chambers of the mind is shaping your world. The power within you is creative, and like a silent artist it paints your experiences with the colors you provide. If you furnish it with fear, it paints scenes of lack, confusion, and delay. If you furnish it with faith, it paints beauty, abundance, and triumph. The key is to recognize that you are not separate from this power. It is not something you call down from above, nor something you must beg for. It is already yours, but it remains dormant until you awaken it with conscious use. Imagine a great musician whose hands rest idly on the piano, never playing the keys. The potential for music is there, yet without intention it remains silent. So it is with you. The melodies of health, success, and happiness lie ready to be expressed, but unless you place your fingers upon the keys of thought and word, nothing plays. To awaken the power within is to begin striking the notes deliberately, refusing the discord of doubt, insisting upon harmony and strength. You may feel resistance at first, for the habits of fear are strong and the voice of appearances speaks loudly. But persistence brings mastery. And soon the inner symphony begins to play. When you recognize that the power within you is spirit expressing itself, you cease to shrink from challenges. You begin to understand that obstacles are not walls but illusions, mirages that dissolve when met with unwavering conviction. The awakened individual knows that appearances have no final say. If lack shows itself, he calls upon abundance within. If sickness tries to fasten itself, he summons health within. If fear knocks loudly, he answers with courage within. This shift of consciousness does not come from straining or forcing, it comes from simple recognition, from remembering over and over that what is within is greater than what is without. Awakening is not a one-time event, but a daily practice of alignment. Each morning offers a fresh chance to affirm, I am strong, I am guided, I am supplied. Each situation is an opportunity to choose faith over fear, vision over blindness, joy over despair. The more you practice, the stronger the awareness grows, until it becomes second nature. You begin to carry yourself differently, walk differently, even speak differently. The light in your eyes grows brighter because you know the truth. Nothing outside has power over the awakened within. Consider the many who sleep through life, never daring to test the strength of their own words. They complain, they worry, they envy, and in so doing they unwittingly create more of the same. They never pause to recognize that every complaint is a seed of more complaint, every doubt a seed of more defeat. They sleep in the dream of limitation, while the kingdom of limitless possibility waits in their very breath. Awakening is simply shaking off this dream, refusing to be lulled any longer by appearances, and declaring with full authority, the power within me is greater than anything before me. The moment you speak such words with conviction, something shifts. Invisible forces begin to stir. Circumstances start to realign. What once seemed impossible begins to bend toward you. This is not coincidence, it is law. The awakened power answers to recognition like a spark answers to a flame. The more you affirm it, the brighter it burns, and the brighter it burns, the less room there is for darkness. Do not wait for evidence to awaken, awakening creates the evidence. Do not wait for circumstances to change, your recognition changes them. This is the secret hidden in plain sight. You already hold the key. The treasure you seek is not buried in distant lands, nor guarded by others, but lies at the very center of your being. When you awaken to it, you discover that what you once chased after was always yours. You discover that the supply was already prepared, the answer already given, the victory already accomplished. Every great triumph in history began not with outer resources, but with inner recognition. Those who changed the world were not necessarily stronger, richer, or more gifted, they were simply awake. They knew the source within and dared to trust it against all odds. They walked forward when others shrank back, because they carried an awareness that could not be shaken. So too can you, for the same power that breathed galaxies into being breathes in you this very moment. To awaken it, speak to it. Call it forth with words of authority. Say, I am fearless, for the spirit within me is my strength. Say, I am abundant, for the source within me is my supply. Say, I am guided, for wisdom within me lights my path. Repeat these words until they are etched upon your consciousness, until no doubt can erase them. Speak them not with hope but with certainty, as one who knows the truth. For words are the triggers that release the hidden forces of the soul. The awakening deepens each time you act as though the unseen were already seen. Walk as if the door were open, and it opens. Live as if the answer were given, and it appears. Trust as if the way were clear, and it clears. The outer responds to the inner like a mirror reflects a face. Change the reflection within, and the world must follow. This is the call. Awaken the power within. Refuse to drift in fear, and stand in the knowing that you are more than appearances, more than circumstances, more than limitations. For the sleeping self may stumble in shadows, but the awakened self shines like the sun, dispelling every illusion with the light of truth. Life is a boomerang, and every word, every thought, every feeling you send out into the invisible comes back to you multiplied. Nothing you release into the universe is lost. It circles, it gathers, it returns. Some call it cause and effect, others call it reaping and sowing, but the image of a boomerang shows it perfectly. What leaves your hand is destined to come back, carrying with it more of its kind. If you cast out anger, anger returns to you in multiplied forms. If you cast out joy, joy comes circling back with greater intensity. Most people do not realize they are constantly throwing out these boomerangs, and they wonder why their lives are filled with struggle or lack. They believe life happens to them by chance, forgetting that every thought entertained and every word spoken has already been set in flight, already shaping its inevitable return. The mind is a fertile field, and the boomerangs you throw are the seeds you plant. Each thought is a seed that must bear fruit, each feeling a vibration that must return in kind. The universe is unfailing in its accuracy, exact in its response, incapable of error. You may forget the words you spoke in anger, or the complaint you muttered in despair, but the law has not forgotten. The boomerang has already been cast, and it is on its way back to you, carrying with it the same vibration that sent it forth. This is why awakening to this principle is so vital. You cannot afford to throw out carelessly. You cannot afford to indulge in idle words, resentful thoughts, or fearful expectations, for they are not idle at all. They are living forces moving in circles, destined to touch your life again. When you realize this, you begin to take greater care with what you release. You begin to understand that every affirmation of strength brings back strength. Every act of generosity returns as supply. Every declaration of faith comes back as manifestation. Life is not random, and nothing in it is wasted. Everything comes home to the one who sent it out. When you send forth kindness, kindness hunts you down. When you send forth beauty, beauty seeks you out. The circle may take time, but it is sure. Some complain that they have tried and tried, yet their good has not returned. They fail to see that their boomerangs of doubt and fear cancel the good they have sent. They speak words of faith in one breath and words of despair in the next, setting conflicting circles in motion. The law returns them both, and the individual wonders why the path is filled with mixed results. The solution is consistency. To speak only one language, the language of faith, the language of power, the language of abundance, and to refuse the other. The consistent thrower of good cannot fail to receive good in return, for the law itself ensures it. This principle works invisibly but surely like gravity. No one doubts that what goes up must come down, and no one should doubt that what goes out must come back. The world is filled with individuals living in the harvest of their own boomerangs, many unconscious of the fact that they themselves sent them out. They blame circumstances, people, and fate, never pausing to ask what seeds they planted, what words they spoke, what attitudes they held. Yet once you know the law, you hold the key. You no longer stumble blindly, but deliberately release only what you desire to see again. This truth gives you power over your environment. If you lack, send out generosity, even if small. If you are lonely, send out love in thought and deed. If you are fearful, send out courage, affirm it, declare it, embody it. Soon the circles will return, and with them will come the harvest. Do not watch impatiently for the boomerang to reappear, for impatience itself sends out another vibration that circles back as delay. Trust the law to work and continue casting forth good, knowing the return is certain. Consider the power of the spoken word. Words are not mere sounds, they are forces, living boomerangs that go out to accomplish their purpose and then come home. When you say, "I am strong," that strength begins circling back. When you say, "I can't," that failure begins circling too. The universe does not argue with you, it simply reflects. It does not judge whether your words are wise or foolish, positive or negative. It only brings them home to their sender. That is why guarding the tongue is as vital as guarding thought. To let careless words of defeat escape is to throw a boomerang of defeat. To let words of hope and victory escape is to set in motion their certain return. Every act, too, is a boomerang. The gift you give, even if unnoticed by others, is circling back to you with multiplied supply. The act of forgiveness you extend, though unseen, is circling back to you with freedom. The resentment you hold, though hidden, is circling back as bondage. No act is isolated, no thought is forgotten. The invisible record is unfailing, and the returns come exactly in kind. This should not be cause for fear but for great joy, for it means no good effort is wasted, no word of truth spoken in faith is in vain, no act of love ever disappears. It will return, and often at the moment you need it most. Think of the one who continually expects failure, who continually speaks of lack, who continually imagines worst-case scenarios. His boomerangs are circling in every direction, and they will not fail to return, each confirming his fearful expectations. Then think of the one who continually expects success, who speaks of abundance, who imagines best-case scenarios. His boomerangs are also circling, and they too will not fail to return, each confirming his confident faith. The difference between these two lies not in luck but in law, not in chance but in consciousness. Each is simply reaping his own returns. This truth calls for vigilance. It asks you to stand guard at the door of your mind, to monitor the words you speak, to watch the seeds you plant. It does not require strain or effort, but awareness. With awareness, you can pause before sending out a fearful thought, before speaking a careless word, before indulging in resentment. With awareness, you can replace them with words of power, thoughts of victory, feelings of love. Every time you do so, you send out a new boomerang, one that will circle back with multiplied good. It is never too late to change what you send out. Even if the past has filled your life with unwanted returns, you can begin now to release new circles, new words, new acts, new expectations. The old boomerangs will still return, but if you persist in sending out good, soon the balance shifts, and the harvest of faith overtakes the harvest of fear. The more you persist, the more the law works in your favor. Until you live in a continual circle of blessing, receiving daily the multiplied returns of the good you have faithfully released. The secret is in the word, for the word spoken with conviction is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, the invisible and the visible, the potential and the manifestation. All through life, people underestimate the power of their own words, believing them to be idle sounds that pass into the air and disappear. Yet every word carries creative force, shaping circumstances, building conditions, and setting in motion events that echo back into the life of the one who spoke them. The individual who understands this begins to measure speech carefully, to weigh every phrase with intention, knowing that words are never lost, never empty, never powerless. They are seeds cast into the fertile soil of the universe, each one destined to bear fruit after its kind. There are those who speak words of defeat continually. Words such as, I can't, I don't have, it's too hard, nothing works for me. They imagine these words are harmless, mere expressions of mood, yet they are planting seeds of limitation and watering them daily. Soon those seeds sprout into visible experiences, confirming the very words that created them. The speaker then points to the result and says, "See, I told you so," not realizing that it was the spoken word that set the whole circle in motion. On the other hand, the one who speaks words of faith, of abundance, of courage, of victory, may at first see no immediate evidence, but the law is at work. Those words have already gone forth to accomplish their purpose, already shaping circumstances, already preparing the return, and they will not return void. The word holds its secret power because it is vibration, and vibration is creation. Everything in the universe vibrates, and words are simply vibrations given form by the tongue and the breath. When those vibrations are charged with faith, they harmonize with the greater vibrations of spirit, drawing to themselves matching forms and experiences. When they are charged with fear, they harmonize with lower vibrations and draw forms of lack, sickness, and failure. To know this is to hold in your mouth the very key to your destiny. No external power can determine your experience with greater certainty than the words you consistently declare. Affirmations, when spoken with expectancy, are not mere phrases but commands to the unseen. To say, "I am strong," when weakness tries to claim you, is to release a force that calls forth strength. To say, "I am supplied," when lack presses heavily, is to set in motion the flow of provision. To say, "I am guided," when confusion clouds the way, is to invite clarity and direction. The words may sound simple, but their effect is profound. For the secret is not in the length or complexity of speech, but in its vibration, in the faith behind it, in the expectancy that accompanies it. Many wonder why their affirmations seem not to work. They repeat words mechanically, without conviction, or they cancel them with contradictory statements of fear. They say, "I am prosperous," in the morning, but spend the rest of the day declaring how poor they are. They say, "I am healthy," in one breath, and in the next they tell everyone about their sickness. The law cannot operate in such confusion. The word must be consistent, steady, unwavering, until it establishes itself in consciousness and begins to bear fruit. One fearless affirmation, spoken with absolute conviction, can overturn years of defeat. The secret lies in speaking as one who knows, not as one who merely hopes. The spoken word also carries authority because it bypasses the rational mind and goes directly into the subconscious. The subconscious is the great servant, accepting as true whatever is impressed upon it with feeling. When you speak words aloud with conviction, the subconscious receives them as commands and begins to shape your life accordingly. Say, "I am confident," often enough, and the subconscious builds confidence into your character. Say, "I am unlucky," often enough, and the subconscious builds failure into your path. The subconscious does not reason, it only obeys, and it takes its orders from the words you repeat with emotion. Think of the power of words throughout history. Every great movement, every transformation, every revolution has begun with words. Words spoken to awaken, to inspire, to command, to declare. The world has been changed countless times not by weapons first, but by words that ignited consciousness and reshaped reality. If words spoken by one person can change nations, how much more can words spoken by you change your personal world? When you realize this, you no longer allow careless speech to pass your lips, for you know each one is a decree. You become deliberate, intentional, guarding your tongue as a sacred instrument of creation. The secret in the word also applies to prayer. True prayer is not pleading or begging but declaring. To pray effectively is to speak the word of truth with faith, to affirm the reality of what you seek as already accomplished, to claim it in words until the unseen takes form. "I give thanks that it is done," is one of the most powerful phrases you can utter, for it speaks not from longing but from certainty. The universe responds to certainty. The law of vibration responds to the words spoken in thanksgiving, as though the gift were already in hand, and then it must appear. Every individual has experienced the effect of words in daily life. A kind word can lift the spirit and change the course of a day. A cruel word can wound and discourage for years, if words can so strongly affect another. How much more do they affect the one who speaks them? For the vibration touches the speaker first before it touches the listener. Every word you say to another you say also to yourself. When you criticize, you lower your own vibration. When you bless, you lift your own vibration. When you declare success for another, you call success to yourself. The law is mutual and unfailing, and it all begins with the word. The word is also the means of cutting off old patterns. When the habit of fear arises, you can immediately declare, "I fear nothing, for the spirit within me is greater than all." When the thought of failure creeps in, you can declare, "I cannot fail, for my success is divinely assured." Each declaration is like a sword cutting through the web of illusion, breaking chains of doubt and setting free the higher vibration of truth. Without the word, the mind remains a battlefield of opposing thoughts, but with the word, the mind finds clarity and direction. Words carry images, and images create conditions. When you say, I am prosperous, the subconscious begins to form images of prosperity, and life responds to those images. When you say, I never have enough, the subconscious forms images of lack, and life mirrors them back. The spoken word, therefore, is the painter's brush of your destiny. What picture will you paint, lack or plenty, sickness or health, defeat or victory? The canvas is your life, and the brush is in your mouth. The secret is in the word because the word aligns you with the source. Spirit itself is word, vibration, sound. The great creative utterance that brought the universe into being. When you speak words of faith, you are not merely making noise. You are joining yourself to that original creative force, echoing it, channeling it, giving it form in your personal world. The same word that called light out of darkness still vibrates through the universe, and each time you speak in alignment with it, you release its power into your affairs. To know this is to hold the master key to creation, for truly, the word spoken with faith is law fulfilled. Prove spirit now, for life does not wait for hesitation, and the universe responds not to delay but to bold expectancy. Too often people postpone their good, imagining some future moment when conditions will be perfect, when opportunities will align, when they will at last feel ready. Yet that future never arrives, for the only time that exists is now, and spirit can only prove itself in the present. The command is clear: prove it now. Act in faith now, expect results now. To wait is to sleep, but to act in trust is to awaken. When you prove spirit, you are not testing a distant force outside yourself, you are demonstrating the presence already within you. Spirit is ever present, limitless, and ready to flow, but it requires an open channel. That channel is expectancy, spoken word, and fearless action. When you dare to declare that your need is already supplied, you invite spirit to manifest in visible form. When you walk forward as if the way is open, the way opens. When you hold fast to a promise in the face of contradiction, circumstances rearrange themselves to prove that your faith was not in vain. The law does not answer to timidity, but it leaps to respond to unwavering conviction. Many say they believe, but their actions betray their doubt. They speak of trust, yet they prepare for failure. They affirm abundance, yet they hoard in fear. They declare health, yet they continually discuss their sickness. This double-mindedness prevents demonstration. For spirit can only prove itself in the atmosphere of certainty. To prove spirit now is to act as though the unseen were already visible. To carry yourself as one who knows the outcome is assured, to refuse any word or action that contradicts the truth you are standing upon. Consider the image of a seed planted in the ground. The gardener does not dig it up each day to see if it is growing. He waters it, he tends it, he expects the harvest. That expectation is proof of his faith, and the earth responds accordingly. So it is with spirit. Once you have declared the word, once you have affirmed your good, you do not dig it up with doubt or cancel it with fear. You water it with thanksgiving, you expect it in confidence. You walk as though it were already yours. That expectancy proves spirit, and spirit proves itself unfailingly. Delay is the great thief of demonstration. The mind says, tomorrow I will believe more strongly. Tomorrow I will affirm with greater power. Tomorrow I will step out in faith. But tomorrow never comes, for tomorrow is always a day away. The truth is that the only place of power is the present moment, and the only time to prove spirit is now. When you declare boldly in the face of present circumstances, you release a force that cannot be delayed. The demonstration may not appear instantly in visible form, but the law begins moving at once. Invisible channels open, unseen forces align, and soon the evidence appears. But nothing moves until you prove it now. Proving spirit requires boldness. You must dare to declare what the senses deny. You must dare to affirm prosperity while appearances shout lack. You must dare to speak health while the body trembles. You must dare to proclaim success while failure stares you in the face. It is this daring that opens the door, for the law is not impressed by caution. Spirit flows most freely through the one who dares, the one who claims his good without hesitation, the one who speaks as if it were already accomplished. Every promise of spirit carries within it the demand, prove me now. It is not a suggestion, but a challenge. The universe asks, will you trust what you cannot see? Will you act upon what you believe rather than upon what you fear? Will you walk in the light of truth rather than the shadow of appearances? When you answer yes, you put the law to work, and it never fails. The moment you act in expectancy, the wheels of demonstration begin to turn. Proving spirit is not about strain or force. It is not about trying harder or begging more fervently. It is about standing still in the certainty that what you have spoken is true, and then acting as though it is. It is quiet confidence, not anxious effort. It is calm expectation, not frantic worry. It is the assurance that what is yours cannot be withheld, and therefore you need not chase it or grasp at it. You simply prove it by declaring it and moving forward, as though it were already accomplished. The one who proves spirit now lives differently from the one who postpones. He does not wait for conditions to change before he believes. He believes, and the conditions change. He does not wait for the evidence before he acts. He acts, and the evidence appears. He does not wait for doors to open before he walks. He walks, and the doors swing wide. The difference lies not in chance or fortune, but in the willingness to prove spirit, now rather than later. Fear will always whisper reasons to delay. It will say, wait until you are stronger, until you are richer, until you are more prepared. But spirit does not require preparation of the outer kind. Spirit requires only readiness of the inner kind, and that readiness is faith. To prove spirit now is to silence the whisper of fear with the shout of truth, to declare, I am ready now. For spirit within me is already complete. The outer can never be perfect before the inner is proven, for the outer is only a reflection of the inner. Think of all the demonstrations that never come because people postpone their good. They wait for a more convenient time, not realizing that every delay closes the channel through which spirit flows. The moment of power is always now, and each time you hesitate, you forfeit an opportunity to see spirit at work. But the moment you dare to prove it, even in a small way, the law responds. Every small demonstration builds confidence for greater ones, until you live in continual expectation of spirit's proving. To prove spirit now is also to speak the word of thanksgiving before the manifestation appears. Gratitude is proof of faith, for it declares that the gift is already received, already secured, already present in the unseen. When you give thanks in advance, you prove that you believe the law is at work, and this proof accelerates the return. The more you live in thanksgiving, the faster the evidence appears, for spirit delights to prove itself where it is trusted. The world may scoff at such faith, calling it foolish or unrealistic. But spirit proves itself not to the doubters but to the doers. Those who wait for appearances to change, before they believe remain trapped in appearances. Those who prove spirit now rise above appearances and draw forth new ones. The proof is always in the demonstration, and the demonstration always follows the fearless words spoken in the present moment. The law never asks, will you prove me tomorrow? It always asks, will you prove me now? The answer must be now, for the eternal power is present now, the supply is present now, the health is present now, the guidance is present now, nothing is withheld except by hesitation. The instant you dare to prove it, the instant you dare to act as though it were already done, that is the instant the law begins to work on your behalf. Victory is already prepared. And the good you long for is not something to be chased after or earned with struggle, but something that has been provided from the beginning. You are not here to beg for scraps, you are here to claim an inheritance. The treasure is laid up, the table is already set, and the supply is waiting for recognition. Yet so many walk in circles of lack, confusion, and defeat because they believe victory lies in some distant future, hidden behind toil, hardship, and striving. They imagine that only by proving themselves worthy, only by outlasting endless trials, will they be allowed a taste of success. They do not realize that the banquet is already served, that the victory is already written, and that all that remains is to take possession with faith. This truth changes the entire attitude toward life. If victory is already prepared, then you no longer strive in fear or chase in desperation. You walk calmly, expectantly, knowing that what is yours cannot be withheld. The path becomes less about clawing and more about claiming. Less about pushing and more about aligning. You step forward not with the anxious energy of someone who must create everything from nothing, but with the quiet confidence of someone who knows the provision is already waiting. This confidence is the atmosphere in which spirit works most freely, for it shows you have moved beyond doubt and entered into recognition. The difficulty is that appearances contradict this truth. The senses see lack. The world shouts impossibility, and the mind grows restless when the evidence seems to delay. But appearances are not the authority. Appearances are shifting shadows, reflections of past thought, not the eternal reality. The eternal reality is that spirit has already supplied, already opened the way, already prepared the outcome. When you hold fast to this, refusing to be swayed by outer conditions, you rise into the vibration where the prepared victory reveals itself. The law is simple: what belongs to you must reach you. What is prepared for you must unfold, but only if you claim it with unwavering certainty. Think of the farmer who plants seeds in the soil. He does not imagine he must create the harvest out of nothing. He knows the harvest is already prepared within the seed, and all he must do is provide the right conditions. So it is with every desire that rises within you. The desire itself is the seed, and the fulfillment is already contained within it. The fact that you can envision the good means it is already prepared, waiting to unfold. You do not manufacture it through strain, you align with it through faith. Each time you affirm, "My victory is assured," you water the seed. Each time you act as though the harvest is certain, you provide sunlight. Each time you give thanks before seeing evidence, you accelerate the growth. The tragedy is that many abandon their harvest before it ripens. They look at the bare soil and declare, "Nothing is happening," forgetting that the process is invisible long before it is visible. They dig up their seeds with doubt, cancel their affirmations with fear, and walk away from the field. Then they claim the principle does not work, never realizing it was their own impatience that robbed them of the harvest. But those who persist, who stand in confidence even when appearances seem barren, always see the victory unfold, for it was prepared from the beginning. Victory is not limited to a few. It is not withheld as a prize for the fortunate or the chosen. It is the birthright of all. For spirit plays no favorites. The same law that guarantees the return of the sun each morning guarantees the return of your good when you align with it. You do not need to compete, for what is yours is already marked with your name. No one else can take it, no circumstance can block it, no delay can erase it. The only requirement is that you recognize it, claim it, and walk as though it were already here. The moment you do, channels begin to open, opportunities appear, and people are moved into place to deliver what was always intended for you. To live as though victory is already prepared is to shift your consciousness from striving to resting in faith. It does not mean inactivity, but it means activity free from fear. You still take steps, you still move forward, but you do so in the energy of certainty rather than the energy of desperation. You write the letter, make the call, pursue the vision, but all the while you know the outcome is already secured. This removes anxiety, for you no longer place the burden of success upon your own shoulders. You realize spirit has already carried it, and your role is to cooperate, to align, to speak and act in harmony with what is already yours. This attitude transforms even challenges. When obstacles appear, you do not collapse in despair, for you know the victory is already prepared behind them. You see the challenge as a test of recognition, a chance to stand firm in your claim rather than retreat into fear. You say, "This too shall pass. For my good is inevitable," and the obstacle dissolves or turns into a stepping stone. What once would have shaken you now becomes an opportunity to strengthen your conviction, to prove again that nothing can prevent the manifestation of what spirit has already completed. Gratitude becomes natural in this consciousness, for you are no longer waiting for proof to give thanks. You thank in advance, knowing the answer is already given. You rise each morning with thanksgiving for the victory, even if it is not yet visible to the senses, for you know visibility is only a matter of time. Gratitude is the fragrance of faith, the sign that you truly believe your good is assured. And gratitude multiplies the blessing, speeding its return, expanding its reach, until the demonstration surpasses what you originally envisioned. Those who live in the vibration of prepared victory walk differently, speak differently, and carry themselves differently. They are not easily swayed by appearances, not quick to despair, not desperate for approval. They radiate quiet assurance, knowing that nothing can be withheld. They bless others freely, for they know blessing cannot diminish their own supply. They encourage others boldly, for they know victory is abundant and unlimited, not scarce or exclusive. They become living examples of what it means to stand in recognition of Spirit's completed work. This recognition is the true secret to peace. Without it, life feels like endless striving, endless grasping, endless fear of loss. With it, life becomes a steady unfolding of good, a calm assurance that each step leads inevitably to greater expression of the victory already secured. You need not push against the current, or exhaust yourself with worry, for the current is already carrying you toward your prepared good. The more you relax into this truth, the more swiftly and easily it comes. Victory is already prepared in every area. Health already prepared in the face of sickness, supply already prepared in the face of lack, success already prepared in the face of failure. Nothing is truly missing, it is only unseen. The senses may insist otherwise, but the senses are limited. Spirit is unlimited, and Spirit has already completed the work. When you shift from asking, "Will it happen?" to declaring, "It is done," you move into alignment with the truth, and the unseen swiftly becomes seen. Each time you declare victory, you awaken to more of it. Each time you give thanks in advance, you call it closer. Each time you act in faith, you reveal another portion of the prepared plan. Life ceases to be a struggle and becomes a proving ground for demonstration, where every circumstance becomes an opportunity to reveal more of what was always waiting for you. The promise is not that you will one day achieve victory after endless striving, but that victory has already been written into the fabric of your being. And your role is to recognize it, claim it, and walk forward in the certainty that it cannot be denied.